Well, hi there. I'm bursting. This is Karen. Lucy and I have been literally nerding out on everything Celtic Collective for weeks. It's like becoming a problem. I have so many other things to do and I can't quite derail from building this Celtic Collective. Now, I've been running art memberships since 2018. Lucy's been running her own as well. And, now that we're coming from a place of experience in terms of running an art club, in terms of developing lessons, curriculums, knowing what our students love and don't love, we're putting all of our expertise together and we're building this Celtic Collective, which is like just amazing. And I wanted to pop in and show you what it looks like. I just wanted to show you what the heck we got cooking up because it's just so exciting. So if any of you are my students already and you are a club member of either the Fun Fab Drawing Club or the Mixed Media Society, this will be seem familiar to you because we're using the visual index. So we're building a library of content where you can click and see the projects, click and zoom to where you want to go. So if you're new to my world, I thought I would take you for a little behind the scenes tour and show you all around the club and what it looks like and what to expect in the coming months. So just to be super clear, doors open June 7th. It's $20 a month or $200 a year. We also, when you join, you are locked in at these rates forever. Our prices will be going up, but, whatever price you join at, you stay at. So I just want to make that super duper clear. You'll be able to cancel anytime and you will be able to join anytime. What's different about this than my other memberships as of right now, and that probably will change though, is that we are keeping doors open. So you can come and go as you please. But just remember, if you come and then go and then we raise our prices later, you don't get that original, you won't be grandfathered in unless you stay. So I just want to be super clear about pricing because that's always the first question. Well, how much does it cost? That's how much it costs. Okay. It's so cheap though. Check out what you get. So I'm going to take you on a little tour. And the first place we are going to go is we are going to go to One Scott, One Not. So let me make my head smaller. It's so big. So when you go to One Scott, One Not, so basically just to give you a little background, Lucy and I have known each other online since 2015. We met in Scotland in 2017 when I was attending an art retreat with Ivy Newport. And Lucy lived there, so she just came and crashed the party for a day or two, and it was so super fun. We hit it off immediately. We were like the little troublemakers, drinking and laughing in the corner while the class was being well behaved and so good. So we've been fast friends ever since. We hosted our own art retreat in Scotland in 2019, and we were resuming activities there in 2022. And we started a podcast. We both love Scotland so much. And so it's just to have an excuse to celebrate our love of Scotland, we started a podcast called One Scott, One Not. And then we also developed this website just to go along with it. Well, then we thought, well, what the heck? Let's take this one step further and let's have an art club only and exclusively for people who love the same nerdy fantasy, fairy, folklore, mythology, myths and legends stuff that we love, right? It's so fun. We kind of can't get enough. So that's when we decided to launch the Celtic Collective. This is Lucy and I in Scotland on the castle grounds of Wardhill Castle, being our ridiculous selves. And we just, we wanted an art club to be a safe space for us to share in our love of all things Scotland and Celtic and old, but share our love with other people as well, and art, obviously, but also invite you to come hang out with us. So if this is something that you're passionate about, we want you here. So here's our little welcome letter. So as you can see, I am on the One Scott, One Not website. And if you just click on Art Club, and you scroll down, I just wanted to make sure you knew this was here. There's just a little blurb about our backgrounds, kind of what I told you. And then we get to the classrooms part. Now, the cool part about this, if you're not in any of my other memberships, is that any of these green play buttons actually take you right to the lesson inside the club. So it's more than just what's here. It's you can actually use this as your gateway to accessing the lessons as when you join and then you go through. So quill and parchment is our art supply classroom. And we have decided to super limit the art supplies that we're using, but create every single project using just a very limited number of art supplies. That way cost stays low. We're all on the same page. So even if Lucy and I are doing completely different projects every month, which is what we are going to bring to you, your supplies get to stay the same. How nice is that? So in case you're new to drawing in watercolor and gouache and inks, that's the finite amount of what we're going to be working with. And just so you know, gouache, watercolors, and inks all work the same. So while it sounds like, when you said like, oh, Karen, you said there'd be limited palette and here there are all these art supplies, but they actually all work exactly the same. And if you're new to any of those, we totally got you. We have packed this supplies classroom. These are the individual lessons that go over the most important things. So if you have questions about drawing paper, watercolor paper, Lucy teaches you how to stretch watercolor paper. If you're interested, say you're like, oh, I don't have any inks, but I really love my Tombos. Can I use my Tombos? I do a water soluble supplies comparison little lesson, so you know how it relates to the art supplies that we will be using. Inks. So this is just like your 411 on art supplies. And if you're not in the US, 411 is the phone number for information back in the old days. So this is all here for you, ready to rock and roll. Now, as you can see, when I click this play button here, it actually takes you. Lucy and I decided to actually share all the information about the supplies we're going to be using in an informational Zoom meeting. So you can actually hear us talk about, and we do a show and tell of all just the art supplies that we're going to be using. And then here is a clickable these are actually links. So if you want to check anything out just for more information, these are all the products that we talk about. And so they're right here at your fingertips. In case you're like, what was that Kiritake watercolor thing? It's actually right here and you can just click and learn more. You're not required to purchase anything. We always encourage you to use what you have and what you love first, always. And we're kind of sticklers about that. So we don't want you running out and buying random things that you don't need or that we're not going to have you using. But we also like to educate you on alternatives. So like, these are my favorites, but I'm also like, here's our other options for you. And again, you don't have to buy a thing if you don't want to, but the information is at least here in case you want to learn more or you're curious about an art supply. All right. So that's all about supplies. And these are all ready and locked and loaded. And we have a lot of questions on watercolor paper and why it's so important. And here's actually, videos again comparing and I'm showing you, so you don't even have to go out and buy these things. You can learn about them and then decide if it's something that you want to buy or not. If you're not new to my world, you know I love me some cheat sheets. So Lucy has quite a few reference materials as well. So we actually, if you want a quick links to our cheat sheets, I'm adding the ones that are relevant to the Celtic Collective here in this classroom. So all you have to do is click. And here's even a helpful video that shows you how to download them. If you're like, what do I do now? How do I get these on my computer? So these are ones I use frequently. So I'm putting them right here in the classroom. And then as you can see, Lucy's are right here too. And I even gave you the video again in case you didn't know. So she's going to be doing lessons on watercolor skin tone mixing. And here's her cheat sheet. And she has more coming as well. So that's what the scribe notes are. Those are our cheat sheets and our supporting PDFs. And you'll love these class names. We've been dying over our creativity about this. Okay. And then here's something that's very special that's going to be unique to the Celtic Collective. Okay. We have categorized every lesson into being appropriate for. So you can use these little icons and to associate with a certain level of art that you may be on. So if you are coming to us with zero experience, first of all, please know you are in the best of hands. Lucy and I live for teaching beginners. That is like our favorite. So we got you. Hi, Maggie. Maggie's here. So you can identify where at your art journey you are. Hi, Maggie. She's going to bark at me in a second. She's getting hungry. So a maiden, is a bit of a virgin, maybe not much experience. And if that's you, that's fine. You're going to want to keep your eyes peeled for this heart Celtic symbol, okay? Because those are the lessons that are going to be appropriate and the most fun for you because they'll be easier. A mistress has a little bit of experience, perhaps is married, and does quite a bit of dabbling in the arts. Not an expert, but definitely not your first art class for sure. You're going to be looking for this Celtic symbol and color. Excuse me. And if you are a professional online art course taker, we love you so much and we feel ya. And you are a goddess in our eyes and you can keep your eyes peeled for purple. So we actually have lessons that bridge all of these abilities. So you can identify where you are in your own art journey and just keep your eyes peeled. If you're a beginner and you're a little afraid, then you can stay away from at the beginning of, lessons that are in this category and just keep your eyes peeled for the pinks instead. Okay. Now, if you are super scared and you're clicking through these classes and you're like, but there's not that many beginner classes, we made you your very own classroom, as a matter of fact. So beginners, we know that you are at a special place, right? You're excited, you're nervous, you might be intimidated. And so we actually made you your very own classroom where you can come and learn the basics from scratch. Okay. Lucy and I, these are all brand new lessons. We don't have, a couple of them you've seen before, but these basic ones are new. So if you're brand new to watercolor, we have this watercolor basics course. So Lucy is the watercolor queen. So she's in charge of educating all of our beginners about watercolor. I actually use watercolors in a very simple way. So I use them much more simplistically. Thank you. It's like 3 words just mashed together the wrong way. And it does some quite sophisticated work, but she breaks it down for you in these first 3 classes. Now, I love to use inks in place of my watercolors. So I'm going to be showing you the difference between the two. And we're doing a very, very simple comparative little lesson here. And just so you can understand that like they really are the same. And I think it's like somebody says like, oh, you use them the same way. And if somebody said that to me and I had never tried it or seen it, I'd be like, okay. So I want to show you that that is true. So I want you to watch this demo so you can really see like, oh yeah, it really is the same way. It's the same brush. I'm putting it on a palette. Like hopefully these answer all of your questions and get rid of your fear so you can come and be confident when you do the actual projects. Now, my strength is drawing, and I love to teach drawing to beginners. So I've broken down some essential things that I would love to introduce you to make you awesome when you're just starting out. And they're really easy, but this classroom is all about pencils. So I really talk about, it hadn't actually dawned on me that someone wouldn't know what a mechanical pencil was for until this week. Like 2 days ago, I was in my Facebook group and somebody was like, I've never used a mechanical pencil. And I was like, what? But then I was like, hang on a second. Like, okay, I am listening and I'm here to teach you what is a mechanical pencil for. Like, it's great to hear your questions because sometimes we don't, we've been at this for a while and we forget that people come from different perspectives. So if you do have any questions like that, me and Lucy definitely want to hear it so we can create a video for you so that you can learn. So I went ahead and I made this. What are all the pencils? So there's videos, and then we actually make the value scale together. And I talk about why that's so darn important. Now, one thing you need to know is that all of the supplies, links and everything are all going to be right here. So we're not like relinking supplies in a million places. So you can always refer to this very first lesson to get all the links and to relearn and go check those things out. All right. So then I also enjoy working on tone paper. So I have tone paper for beginners. This is actually a series I'm doing on my YouTube drawing channel, but YouTube is like a black hole and finding anything there is nuts. So I've collected them and I'm putting them in these classrooms for you. And then here's your very first fairy face, which is an older lesson. Now, all the lessons you're seeing before doors open on June 7th are lessons that Lucy and I have taught in other places. So if you're coming from our clubs, these might be familiar for you. But every lesson coming from here on forward will be new. So we just wanted to get you something to get started with. Okay. So, it also depends on where you are in your journey. And also if you're new to me and Lucy's world. So if you're not new to me, all of Lucy's things are going to be new to you. So you can go watch all of her things and do her lessons and vice versa. So there is something new here for everyone. But if you hear myself or Lucy referring to the other lessons, that's just why. There's no reason that we can't use a lesson. It's kind of a waste, and it's sort of unfortunate that we wouldn't be sharing some of these great projects with new people. So this allows us a chance to do that. And I think it's awesome, and I'm taking full advantage. That being said, going forward, everything will be new and fresh. So that if you are in any of our other art clubs, you're, getting a lot for your buck. So as you can see, those little symbols that I was talking about refer to your level. So if you're like a total newbie and you don't know where to start, look at this. You can actually start right here. You see that little pink. You're like, okay, that's me. That's where I'm starting. I'm going to click this and I'm going to go. And for these green buttons to work, you just have to be logged in on your Awesome Art School. Like I'm logged in on a different browser. Not a different browser, a different tab is open up here. And then I just click. And actually, this is actually 2 lessons in one. You're welcome. It's a great little lesson. So I teach you how to color it in watercolors, inks, and then also markers. But that I'm actually putting this one in here for the drawing portion of it because I like this drawing better. But then I'm teaching you to do inks and watercolors because those are the mediums that we're going to be focusing on in the Celtic Collective. So where was I? Where was I? Did I get rid of all of my, I did. All right. Well, if you get bounced out, you just go back to onescottoneknot.com. Where were we? Here we are. Here's our art club. And that's as simple as that. Okay. So let me just give you a quick rundown. So we have all of those. These are more advanced for sure. And these are fun sneak peek of the classes. We have the Sealy Court. So in case you're not up on your fairy, let's say, phenomenon, in Scotland, the fairies were divided into 2 courts. There was the Sealy Court, which are basically friendly fae or good fairies. And then there's also the Unseelie Court. And that's where our evil, dark goblins and such hang out. So as we do new lessons, we're going to be popping them in these different categories. Okay. We also have one here for magical potions of the ancient apothecary. So any things like plants, fungi, trees, botanicals are all going to live here. And as you can see, there's 2 all level friendly activities that you can get started with. Then we're going to do many magnificent manses. So here's a fun one to start you off. And of course, anytime we add new lessons, this is where you can come and see where they are. We have a classroom for mythical creatures coming up. And then this one I'm particularly excited for. This is learning from the greats. Then we are going to be master's apprentices, and we're going to be learning and studying from the insanely talented illustrators that kind of reside in the fantasy field. So just a fun little extra snippets of fun that are coming up in the collective. On the 7th of every month, we're releasing new lessons. Lucy and I every month are going to do the same subject, but we're going to do it from our own point of view, and we are not going to show or share each other what we're doing. So it could be coincidentally very similar. It could be completely different, but our styles and way of working are really different actually. So that makes it extra exciting. Plus it gives you like a double bang for your buck because you're getting 2 completely ways of working. But again, the same art supplies. So it's like, super awesome that we can have that power, and we work closely enough that we can do that. On the 21st of every month, Lucy and I are having a Zoom, and we are going to be sharing with you our stories. We're going to be sharing and reading some Celtic stories, and that is going to set the stage and be a sneak peek of what we are going to be doing for the next month. Okay. So 7th is new lessons. 21st, we're having a little story time hangout, and that's when we are going to be, again, picking the subject for the next 7th when the new projects come out, and on we go. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can still add your name. Well, your name's already on the wait list if you're watching this, but in case you're not on the wait list and you are just watching this now, you can click the sign up button from the One Scott One Knot website, and then you're landing at Awesome Art School. That's my art school. Okay, you can add your name to the wait list right here. It says I'm already in already. That just means you'll get emailed when doors open. And then when you sign up, you're going to go to awesomeartschool.com again, and you're going to want to click on my courses. Okay. And my courses, yes, this is what you'll see. Okay. You are going to see, now you might have these, you might not, but all these green are for you. Okay. This is all those, these are all the things that are in the Celtic Collective classroom for you. Okay. So away you go. So you can click on any of these. Again, it looks a little different and fancy from my other club members. You guys might be thinking, ooh, that's right. The Celtic Collective is really totally brand new, and everything about it is a little bit different than how I've been doing it for my other clubs, just because I have a art partner. And yeah, obviously all of the lessons are going to be related to fantasy and folklore, and we're going to be having so much fun. So I hope that gives you a really fun behind the scenes of what is coming right around the corner, June 7th. Keep your eyes peeled for your emails. All right. And I hope to see you there. Bye.